Hi guys! When I last left you for my 31 minutes for 31 days mini book, we were sort of only about here, less than halfway, and as you can see, it's considerably fuller now. I am pretty much finished this notebook. I've got one more page to do, and I figured that since this was the last day of this project, I would do that page with you guys and do something a little bit special, and then I will walk you through my finished album, well, at least the second half of the finished album, the pages that you haven't seen. So I've got a photo and I've got sequins. Of course, it's the last page of my book. There weren't that many pages in here with sequins, so the last one definitely needed sequins, and the only other supply I've got is a whole bunch of alpha stickers. So let me pop you on fast forward and let's get going. So I printed out my photo. It's slightly smaller than 4x6. I just wanted a little bit of a white border around the page so that I could have a little bit of white space, because the sequin page that I'm going to do is going to be pretty full on. And so you can see here I had to clip the side of the book shut so that I could work on the left hand side here. And all I'm doing is I'm going to use all of these different alphas to spell out a quote. So since I was going to do rainbow sequins and have been having a reasonably rough time of it lately, I just wanted a little bit of color, a little bit of sparkle, and a little bit of positivity to end this project. So my quote says, "Some days you have to make your own rainbows," which is totally true. I had just picked out a whole bunch of these alphas, and obviously I was trying to keep them flat, so they are all cardstock alphas rather than thickers or anything puffy like that. So I've just got a few random sheets, and some of them are missing quite a few letters, so I am having to shuffle around to find a nice spread of color to keep everything balanced, but also using sheets that actually have the letter that I need in them. Ease was obviously going to be the hardest one of those. I started my quote too high up. Obviously with this sort of thing, it was slightly hard to plan how it was going to turn out without doing it twice. I guess I could have done it on wax paper or something like that and then redone it again later, but 31 minutes, I just wanted to go quick. I wanted to get this page finished, so I was just gonna go for it. And you can see here I'm in my last word, rainbow, and I've got a bit of a gap down the bottom, but what I decided was that that would be quite a nice place to do a bit of journaling, and I am going to do that off camera because it's going to be a little bit more private than my journaling usually is, so you won't see that on camera or in the photos, but that's what I'm going to fill that gap with. Now I have made myself a template for my sequin pocket. So you can see here I picked out 5 different rainbow shades of sequins, and the little bit of paper that I'm slipping behind it has just got a pencil template behind it, where I'm going to diagonally fuse these pockets shut so that I can make little stripes of rainbow sequins. And the thing that I struggled the most with this, and you'll see, is I keep putting in way too many sequins. Obviously when you are fusing stripes like this onto the page, there is much less room than usual, and I keep obviously trying to put my usual amount of sequins in it, which doesn't really work very well, so I keep having to do this and squeeze some out. So my desk is completely covered in sequins at this point. I'm trying to keep all the mixes sort of separate off camera here so that I can put them back into my bags, but you can see here I'm just putting the template under the pocket, and I'm still adding my piece of scrap cardboard like I normally do, and then I'm lining up my ruler with the pencil marks, and then just fusing that pocket on the diagonal. So it's exactly the same process, it's just slightly more complicated because I have to do it so many times, and there are so many sequins trying to escape. It is definitely made harder by the fact that this book is so fat. It would have been much easier if it was sat flat, but you can see here I'm having to sort of tip it up to do it, because every time I lay it flat, the page flaps down and the sequins sort of tip out the top. Sorry. So if you have a slightly flatter notebook than this technique would be much easier. But you can see what I'm going for here, this rainbow stripe of sequins, and I really love it. It just worked out so perfectly. Yeah, this was exactly what I was hoping it would work out like, so I was really pleased. This one here was super hard because I was trying to do it all cack-handed and backwards, but I still managed to get the pocket fused shut, and with that my page is finished. So now that I have finished my last page in this notebook, let me walk you through the rest of here and show you the other pages. This was a cut file from Paige Evans that I cut with white cardstock, and then I backed it with vellum and put it over this super busy paper, and I really liked the way that it sort of represented how I feel when I'm in the middle of a migraine, which has been a fairly regular occurrence around here with the allergies and the stress, and I'm really pleased with how this page came out. I don't mind that you can see through to the other page. It kind of adds to the busyness of it, which I think is quite representative. These were some photos that I had printed out a really long time ago, meaning to document some of the TV shows that we had been watching during winter. It just never happened, so I decided to pop them in here so at least it was done somewhere rather than just sitting on my desk doing nothing. I used, and I can't remember the name of the stamp set from Brandy Kincaid and Feed Your Craft, but I sort of stamped the little TV sets ombre across the page and then stuck down my photos and used that Ariel Alpha from Feed Your Craft as well. I had got a delivery from Kiki K, so I used some of their packaging for the background of this page. It's just a few layers of their tissue paper, and I just stuck that down with roller tape, glue roller. I glued the paper of the actual notebook rather than the tissue paper, and then just stuck that down and added a little bit of washi tape behind my photo to give it a bit of definition. The 3x4 card on this side was some of the packaging that came from one of the boxes. I thought it was really pretty, so I wanted to pop that in there, and all I did was embellish it with a couple of stickers. I had left this page, the top of this page, clear, and then one really quick day all I did was add some sequins in. When I had fused in this 3x4 card, I did add some paper on the back here, not knowing what I was going to do, but I figured pink would be a safe choice, and it was. One day when I didn't have a lot of time, I just stuck down one of these embellished stickers. They're inspired by Absolutely Alice. They're just some layers of die cut paper and some stickers on top of a sticker. So I've literally just stuck the sticker on top of the pocket there. Then I filled up my top of the pocket with sequins and fused it shut and called that a day. This was a random photo that I had misprinted for something else, so I decided not to waste it and just stuck that straight in the book with a little doily and some other random little embellishments. Essie Ruth had sent me a pocket letter, and the bits and pieces from that were still sitting on my desk, so I used a couple of those in here. This was a fun page. I had taken another photo of some mugs, and I decided to try that same washi tape technique again, this time with actual alpha dies, and I really loved the shine I got on these ones. It did take a long time to die cut out all these letters, and it's super hard to see, but I did stamp this yellow background with a mug stamp, just a repeat stamping tone on tone. It is easier to see in real life than on camera here, but I like the sort of texture that gave it. I tied this page in, it's got the same paper, and I used the same gold washi tape up here just to tie the two pages together. These were a couple of really simple pages. Again, like I said, and especially towards the end of the month, I definitely did not have 31 minutes each day to dedicate to this project. Some days I did, most days I didn't, so it starts to get really simple. This was another, it was a 4x6 card that came in that same pocket letter, and I just trimmed out the words and stuck it on top of my photo, which was this beautiful rainbow that I woke up to one morning, and added a doodle border. And this page is equally as easy and simple, totally different days though. That 2 digital journal cards layered one on top of the other. I just tore the bottom of this one, and although this is in the pocket, it does have some hidden journaling under this one here, which was purely for me, which is why I don't mind that it's under the pocket. You've obviously just seen this page. The reason I left the page in the middle for the last page was purely because I wanted to film something for you guys, and as you'll see towards the back of this book, that would have been very difficult. I really love the way that the stripes not only separate the different colors, but it also means that the sequins stay throughout the page. Like, you can imagine if I just put one color of sequins in here, every time you tip the book up, the sequins all fall to the bottom. This way they stay much more evenly distributed throughout the page. Again, we've got a couple of super simple pages for some really busy days. This was another quote that I had found on, I think it was Facebook again, and I just grabbed that for myself and printed it out and backed it with some pattern paper and a little bit of washi tape again. I like that not every page in here is a photo, which is, you know, usually either about Coffee, Lily or myself, so it's nice to have a little bit of difference. This page here was some ephemera that never made it into my Project Life album, and I really loved it. Wonder if you can see the texture. We went to an art opening in August, and they had created their own sort of branding posters, and it's spray paint sort of splattered and stenciled, and I just loved it. So I trimmed it down to fit, and I added this stamp from the Extravagant Hope stamp set from Brandy Kincaid, and then I just doodled some little hearts and splatters on it myself with a pen. Like literally 5 minutes worth of work, and I really love how this one turned out. This page was one weekend I was watching Salt, Fat, Acid, Heat on Netflix, and I made it through about 30 minutes of that show before I had to put it on pause and go and make something. I've sort of forgotten how much I enjoy making things other than paper, so I went and baked some bread and then came back and watched the show while it was rising, and then once that was finished I did this this page here. So this was last weekend, same nails you'll see. I took the photo specifically so that I could add it to my book here because I knew this was something that I wanted to document. I will say taking a one-handed photo while trying to knead bread, tiny bit tricky. So you can see now why I left the one in the middle. We're getting towards the end of the page, end of the book, sorry, and it really was a struggle to do some of these pages because it was so fat. This one, super simple again. I added my title to a sheet of vellum and then trimmed the pocket down. And I've just hand stitched this with just a bit of embroidery thread. So don't feel like if you don't have a fuse tool that you can't use these pocket page notebooks or that you can't do interesting things with the pockets. The fusing is just one way of doing it. Hand stitching, machine stitching, sorry, is all another option. All totally doable. Although I will say running this through the machine when it's this fat was going to be a bit of a struggle. Not a snuggle, a struggle, which is why I chose to hand stitch this one. My journaling's underneath here and I quite like the way that this sort of hides that a little bit too. Almost at the end. If you've been following my Instagram last week, you'll know I had a real cracker of a week. It was pretty appalling. So I did manage to take a photo after the red puffy facedness had dissipated a little bit. So I did this little page, not so much about the crap day that I had, but about all the lovely people that had helped support me and bring me out of that funk. So definitely all the amazing comments that I got on Instagram was a big part of that, but so was my sister, who helped me come up with a plan to get through this, and my husband Shane, who dragged me out of the house and put a smile on my face again. So I think those three things definitely deserved being documented, as well as the shittiness of that day. And my last page in this book, I really just wanted to put another sort of note to self about treating myself. This project has been a treat in itself, but I'm a good one for buying treats, so I've always got a little treat coming in the mail, and these boxy boxes have definitely been a fun part of this season. So that is this whole project. I really hope that if you were joining in with the 31 minutes for 31 days project, that you have finished your 31 minutes and that you have really gotten something out of this project. I have. I've gotten a super fat mini book that I have no idea how I'm going to store, but I've also had the opportunity to experiment and play and really enjoy my creativity again. So there's only one last thing to do really, which is to try really hard to stamp one more stamp in here. Oh, close enough. "31 minutes for 31 days. This is an awesome project, so head over to the Facebook group, make sure you're signed up so that if you didn't get a chance to participate this year, you will be notified when it starts again next year. Thanks for joining me today, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I know it was quite a long one. If you did enjoy it, make sure you give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. If you want to keep watching, there's a couple more videos on screen. Otherwise, I'll see you next time. Bye.